What's up, guys? In today's episode, we're going to be discussing why your plants are looking like crap, especially right now during record temperatures in the summer. Your plants are cooking up, burning up, you don't know what's going on. Can you do something to help your plants? Well, before we can actually discuss any of that, you need to understand the three main types of damage that your plants will sustain during the summer months. Yes, and a lot of them you had not even heard of before. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. All right, guys, let's get started with the first one, and that is sunburn. A lot of you guys are familiar with sunburn. Yes, everybody experiences sunburn at one point or another. What does sunburn look like? Well, it looks like this. You're gonna get random spots that are gonna turn yellow on your plants. Now, that is the first phase of sunburn. If it gets worse than that, well, those yellow spots are gonna turn brown and those areas are gonna burn up, and that area of the leaf is going to turn brown and die off. Now, what causes sunburn? Well, this is a lemon right here. It is an old lemon, many years old. It is in a 45-gallon container plant, completely root bound. Its root system cannot grow any bigger than that container. But for the temperatures that we are experiencing right now, like 122 degrees right now, actually 123 degrees right now, it is just simply too hot. And the plant doesn't have the root system to become stronger to withstand that heat. So the area of the canopy that's facing the sun the most all day usually will experience sunburn. Now, is this going to kill your plant? Well, if it's an older plant, no, it's not going to kill your plant. It's just going to look ugly. It's temporary damage, cosmetic damage, and as long as you keep your plant watered, it will be okay. Now, these leaves right here are not gonna look better over time. The damage is already done. The only thing that's gonna look better is when you get new growth out of the plant. Do you need to worry about sunburn? Well, the only time you need to worry about sunburn is if your plant is not acclimated to the sun. Meaning you just went to the nursery, you bought a plant, it came out of a greenhouse, it was in the shade, and you put it in full sun. Well, if your plant is not used to the full sun, it may die completely. Yes, it may be just too much, and the plant will not be able to tolerate it because it's not acclimated, and the sun will kill your plant. Also, if you have a sunlight sensitive plant, like loquats, you see this loquats right here? Yeah, the sun got to them, they cooked up, and the ones that got full sun just for about 30 minutes to an hour are dead. These plants in my area are sunlight sensitive, especially when they are in the containers or freshly planted in the ground. Once they are fully rooted in the ground and they get a bigger root system, they become stronger and they can actually take the full sun. This local right here, even though it's exposed to the full sun, you can see it has some sunburn, but it's not dead. So you need to understand what type of plants you are growing in your area, especially if you want to expose them to the full sun. But generally, you don't have to worry about the sun killing your plants because normally it's just cosmetic damage. The next type of damage that we're going to be discussing is transpiration burn. Most of you guys are hearing this for the first time, and I'm going to explain it to you right now. What is transpiration burn? Well, transpiration is just another word for sweating. If you didn't know, your plants sweat for the same reasons you do. And just like you, if you're not able to sweat, even if you drink water, you are going to get heat stroke. So, what does transpiration burn look like? Transpiration burn will look just like this. The edges of your leaves are going to burn up. And normally, it's usually a few leaves, or it could be the entire canopy. It depends on how bad it is. What causes transpiration burn? Well, the way your plant moves water up the canopy of your tree is, think of it as a mechanical pump. And that mechanical pump requires pressure. And that pressure is created by how wet the soil is around the root ball of your plant. So, as the soil dries, that pressure goes down, and in extreme temperatures, your plant is just not going to be able to pump that water up the canopy of your tree fast enough to cool the canopy of your plant quick enough. So what usually happens is the areas farthest away from the main trunk and the root ball of your plant run out of water and they cook. And that usually is going to be the edges of your leaves. So if you have leaves right now and they're looking like they're cooking around, they're burning up around the edges, is transpiration burn. So how can you fix transpiration burn? Well, you gotta make sure that your plant does not go dry. Right now, my daily temperatures are over 110 degrees every single day. I cannot afford for my plants to go dry, not even for a few minutes. So my irrigation system is coming on every few hours for just a few minutes, just to keep the potting mix moist at all times. I do not want my potting mix to go dry, because the minute it goes dry in extreme temperatures, especially for plants that do not hold water, you are going to get transpiration burn. Is transpiration burn something you need to worry about? Well, it depends. Your plant's telling you it's not able to cool off fast enough for the temperatures. And that's happening for two reasons. One, your plant's going dry. Two, your plant may not be able to sweat fast enough to cool off. Yes, in extreme temperatures, especially here in the desert, a lot of plants are not native to this area. So what usually happens is they're not able to sweat fast enough to cool off, even if you water the soil. So what usually happens is you're gonna get transpiration burn, whether you like it or not. And if that is bad enough, well, guess what? Your plant is dead. So how can you fix this? Well, for one, you can do a few things. You can shade your plant, make sure it doesn't go dry, and understand what type of plant you are actually growing. And that brings us to the next type of damage, and that is heat damage. So check this out, guys. There are heat sensitive plants as well. What does that mean? It means that even if you shade the plants, even if you water the plants, if the ambient temperature is too hot, the plant is going to burn just like if it was in full sun. The most common plant that is heat sensitive out of all the plants that I have here, it's going to be avocado plants, especially grafted avocado plants, regardless of the variety that you purchase. If somebody ever tells you this variety is native to Arizona and it's gonna grow a lot better than any other avocado plant because somebody said it was grafted from a native avocado plant, no, that is not true. If it's grafted, you will experience this one way or another, especially if your plant is in a container. What does heat damage look like? Well, if your plant is in the shade, you're watering your plant, but then your leaves start burning up. Usually, it will look like transpiration burn, but it's gonna spread throughout the entire canopy of your plant. Like this plant right here, this is a seedling avocado. These are a lot stronger than grafted, and this is the main reason why I sell seedling, because most people do not get past the first summer, especially for grafted avocado plants. So what usually happens is in the shade, and even if it gets windy, if the temperature is too hot for too long, your plants are gonna burn up. Your entire canopy is gonna look like this. Your plant is just not gonna be able to sweat fast enough to cool off. So the edges of your leaves are gonna burn up like transpiration burn, but then that is going to transfer into the smaller branches, and then your smaller branches are gonna cook. They're gonna turn black, and usually it starts at the top and it works its way down. Because remember, your plants are moving water up the canopy like a mechanical pump, and it requires pressure on the bottom, but the plant is just not able to sweat fast enough to cool off. So the plant cooks. Just like you, if you're not able to sweat, even if you drink water, you get heat stroke. So your plants are getting heat stroke. How can you fix this? Well, there are several ways you can actually make it easier for your plant to make it past the first summer. That is, you need to plant your tree in the ground as soon as possible, because a bigger root ball in the ground will make your plant stronger. No, a bigger container is not going to work. Even bigger plants will die just as easy as a smaller plant from heat damage. Another thing you gotta keep in mind is look at the environment around your plant. Keep them away from radiant heat sources. So the wall that I have back here radiates heat about 150, 160 degrees. And that heat radiates easily about 8 to 10 feet away from that wall. So if you have a heat sensitive plant, putting your plant next to that wall would be dumb. And if your plant's cooking up, even if you shade it and water it, that is the main reason why. Now, some plants are not heat sensitive, but even in extreme temperatures, they will become heat sensitive, just like you. You can take a lot of heat, but guess what? If it's too hot for too long, you will also get heat stroke even if you drink water. And everybody's different, just like plants. Plants are different. So just because your friend has a plant and your friend's plant is looking okay, doesn't mean yours will. So keep your plants away from radiant heat sources, shade them, and make sure they do not go dry. Out of all the plants that I have here at the nursery, the main plants that are heat sensitive that I sell here are gonna be avocado plants, especially grafted avocado plants. The second most heat sensitive plant that I have here is going to be miracle fruit tree. The third is gonna be blackberry jam fruit. Other than that, guys, most of my plants over here, they can take the heat as long as I water. But remember, the conditions around your plant are going to dictate if your plant is going to make it or not. If the environment around the plant is extremely hot and you miss watering even by a few minutes, your plant is gone. So the cooler the environment you can provide for your plant, the longer it will be able to live without water. But heat damage is going to be the most extreme damage your plants are going to experience during the summer. Most people do not get past the first summer, especially if they purchase a grafted avocado plant. If you want to grow a heat-sensitive plant in the desert, you need to create an environment where the entire area, it's cooler. That means you need to create a microclimate. You see this area right here? I got the pine trees back there, providing shade in the afternoon. I got the shade structure here. Everything is on drip irrigation here, coming on every few hours, so the environment here is more humid. But even in this environment here, I have lost rows of avocado plants, grafted avocado plants, because it was just too hot. Even in this environment here. So if you have an avocado plant or any other heat-sensitive plant and it keeps dying on you, look at this. I kill plants in this environment. So every year is different, so keep that in mind if you want to grow a heat-sensitive plant. And that's it, guys. Those are the 3 types of damage that your plants are going to experience during the summer months. A lot of people are blaming this heat, the sun, for their plants dying. And in reality, it's not the sun killing your plants, it's not the heat. Most plants right now are dying because most people are not watering their plants. Just like you, when it gets hot, plants sweat for the same reasons you do. And just like you drink more water during the summer months than during the winter months. So if you have new plants out there and you miss watering and then the plant dies, do not blame the sun, do not blame the heat, because it's not the sun or the heat that killed it, it's you not watering your plants. So right now, my recommendation for a lot of you that are struggling growing plants in extreme heat is water your plants. It's better to keep the soil wet than to let it dry, because plants that do not hold water will die in a matter of, I would say, depending on the temperatures, within 30 minutes to an hour, your plant is completely gone. The most common plants that people are killing that I sell here at my nursery are guava plants, loquats, star fruits. Any plant that has a fibrous root system, shallow root system, those, as soon as they go dry, they're gone. So my recommendation is keep the soil wet, especially during extreme weather. And other than that, right now is actually the best time to grow anything. Plants grow when the night temperatures are hot. The hotter the night temperatures get, the faster your plants are going to grow. So for those of you waiting until fall to plant in the ground, well, yes, while it's going to be cooler, it's going to be easier for you to plant in the fall, and your plants are not going to die as fast as if they go dry. Growing season is over, because in the fall, the night temperatures are going to drop. But anyways, guys, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like it. If you have any questions, as always, comment below, and I will see you next time.